All right, now we're going to a stage where we have tested the code, but we haven't actually deployed the code, right? So which means you cannot test it via a front end yet. So all you saw in here was a unit test that was running, right? And it's make sure that the part of the code you've written is correct. So to actually deploy this code automatically, right, which is the continuous deployment comes in. So basically what we're saying is we develop a code, we test it, we deploy it, we hand over to developers to test it further, we hand over to QAs to test it further, and even hand it over to business team to test it and go to production as well, to deploy it to production as the next stage. Right. To do this, I'm going to draw your attention to portal.azure.com, where you can actually, you're going to see how to create app services, right? Um, so just before we get started, if you want to get started with Azure, you can start with a free account. You got free 30-day trial of, I think, 200 USD, which is more than enough for you to learn. So sign up for an account, go to app services, and like if I could go here, and I could go to app services like this. Right, I'm creating an app service. I'm going to create a web app basically to deploy this Python web app application. And I'm going to name this as GR Academy Test DevOps. Can be anything. I'm going to use publish as a code. Let's not go into Docker or anything yet. And this is where you choose, you build the code in Python 3.10. If you remember in the Git I showed you. So let's choose Python 3.10, doesn't matter. It's passing there. You can also choose Python 3.11 because that's the environment that we have developed. Excuse me. Yeah, I want to use Linux. And this is the region where you want to host this web app in. So uh, certain organizations have heavy restrictions in regards to where you store data. So that's why the region is so important for organizations like finance or insurance, etc. Right. And then you choose Linux plan. I'm just going to use, for easy sake, GR Academy Test DevOps. And you can choose a free plan, but with the free plan, you won't get GitHub integration directly. So I'm going to use a basic subscription here, right? And I'm not going to care about redundancy at this stage. As you can see, the continuous deployment, I'm going to enable continuous deployment. I've already got a GitHub account linked. If not, you can add your GitHub account. I'm going to call my body home. And I'm going to choose the Hello World application that I saw and the branches, what branch you want to deploy. So branching is where you can develop a set of features in a small branch before pushing it to the main branch. So this is where, let's say 3 months down the line, you want to push a release, you start working today, but it's not committed to the main branch until somebody says so, right, as an example. All right, now you've done that, you go to networking. I'm going to give enable public access for now. It's fine so that people can access this. Yeah, I'm not going to go too much into the application insights monitoring set of things, which is a huge topic in DevOps or SRE. I'm not going to create any tags, and I'm going to review and create this application. All right, so I'm going to click create. So it's going to take a few minutes before it creates this application for me. So as you see, it's deploying. So within a few clicks, you're already at a stage where you have set up a continuous deployment environment linking to GitHub directly. Um, seeing just the maturity of the DevOps tool today is so awesome, right? So one thing I want you to turn your attention to here is being a DevOps engineer. I've seen people wanting to write code from the scratch, right? But today there's a lot of assistance that you get in applying something called a do not repeat yourself approach. There's a lot of tools available for you to save it. So it's yeah, it's more like a developer is op is kind of in an operations mindset in automating the code that he or she wants to deploy to production, right? You see how easy it is to do so. All right, so now it's deployed. Now I go to the resource and you can see my resource is up and running, and it's also created me a nice website. I, I don't know if it's going to be up and running. I don't think so. But let's wait. All right, so here, something I want to show you is the configuration side of the script, because we haven't said how to actually start up this application. Or also something I want to show you is the deployment center as well. So in Azure, you can see there is a deployment center. In the deployment center, you'll be able to see all the logs relating to deployment. And it should also show logs from, excuse me, from the GitHub page as well. As you can see, this is the build and application docs. It's automatically taking you to the page where it's built it. Now it's deploying to production. That's what it says, because the environment we have set up is in the name of production. We can easily change the name. So it's deploying. So basically the logs should show up soon and it should start deploying. So refresh. Right, so it succeeded. Everything is successful, all good. So now if you go to your application, you expect it to run. What's happening? Yeah, you say your app is up and running. Hey, but what happened? You don't see hello world, right? Right. So the reason you don't see hello world is actually you haven't started your application, or you haven't mentioned how to start the application, right? So in this case, you need to, there is, I think this is general settings, and then you're going to say startup command. So I'll say Python, I'll say, I think it's Python 3. Let's try it. And what's the name of the file? It's hello world app.py. Right, right, right. So that should do it. So once I save it, it should go and deploy that application again. So refresh. No, it's not saved. It's saved. Okay, let me refresh. That's fine. And I'm going to go to I'll go to OU. I want to check the logs, view log stream. Hmm. I think it's working, because I think the path of that application is something that we need to fix. So if you go to the configuration section of the app, I think it is uh, website port. I think it is 5000. Okay. Okay. So I've figured out what the error was. So I made a quick commit just for this. I went offline to fix this. I pushed a small change in the hello world.py to first listen on port 8000, just to make sure that the application on Azure is configured. And I also wanted to do something just as part of this. This is one of the important things that often people forget, right? So you got to mention to something like instructions for production deployment. And you'd say port set nv variables website scope port is equals 8000 and also Python environment 3.10, which is the version configured for CI. Right. So just want to make sure that this was what causing an error because we configured a different port here, but Azure is expecting a different port, and these are the things that's going to enable faster deployments. And the easy part is once you automate, you don't need to change anything, but you have to figure it out for the first time, right? So I've done this. I'm going to commit, add readme, git push. Okay, well, this get pushed. It's just a read-only change, and something I have to show here is in the configuration. I just specified externally one that application general settings is Python 3.10, which we already saw, and just make sure this Python is the command. And in the application settings, I added website support equals blah. Now, when you go here and click on this, blah. Wow, there's Hello World 1 application. We have got it. Hola. So what we have learned is you could use a powerful combination of tools like GitHub to trigger changes from the code to initiate a deployment and to test on the production-like environment before releasing to production. So with that, I would like to say thank you for this amazing opportunity. And if you got any questions, please reach out to me via LinkedIn, or you can visit anandsridharan.com to leave a message. Thank you.